Welcome to Barbecue Stories, the Cheating Secrets channel. My kids and I read through the letter once more, feeling like it expressed everything we needed to say. My teenage children hugged me, and my daughter was the first to ask, "Dad, do you think she'll make the right decision?" She asked this with a thoughtful look. I frowned, replying, "I hope so, for everyone's sake." My son gave us a sad look and said, "It's unlikely." "Well, who knows? Maybe your mother will come to her senses," I answered, though without much conviction. After this, we packed our bags and suitcases and headed to our seaside house. We had initially planned a weekend trip, but now it seemed like it might turn into a full move. We had set up cameras throughout the house, streaming live footage directly to my phone. About 2 hours later, while we were still unpacking, I received a notification on my phone. There was movement in the house, specifically in the kitchen. The alarm had triggered, and the remote camera activated. We watched as my wife read the letter alone before collapsing to the floor. The letter to my future ex-wife. Even though this past year has been rough with our financial troubles and other issues, I believed we still had each other's backs. But apparently, I was mistaken. For quite a while, the kids have been telling me how distant you've been. Truthfully, I was so caught up with the children and work problems that I missed the signs. Your family noticed how aloof you were at our last family barbecue. Everyone kept looking at you, but you ignored us all, absorbed in your cooking and glued to your phone. Your father kept asking me what was going on, but I had no answer to give him. When I tried to talk to you, it felt like talking to a wall. Even your sister approached me privately, mentioning a man at your workplace, a younger, fitter man you seem to enjoy spending time with. You don't speak with the kids, barely engage with your parents, and even my folks are worried about you. I know my mother tried reaching out to you, but got no response. Currently, I'm away with the kids, combining a family vacation with a business trip. The kids understand what I'm doing. This deal is crucial for us. It secures our financial future, making it possible to fulfill all our promises. However, the kids are also old enough to realize that this might be where our paths start to diverge. 25 years ago, when you said yes to marrying me, I committed to loving you with everything I had. I may not always show it, but I want you to know that my love for you has been unconditional. However, if you decide to break your vows, cross a line from which there's no coming back, then it's over between us. The choice is yours. Remain faithful, and we can work through this and figure out what you want from our marriage. But my one and only demand is loyalty. If you can't agree to that, then we're finished. The divorce papers are ready. Everything now hinges on your choice. Follow your heart, but for heaven's sake, don't be led by anything else. I know you have a date planned with your friend. If you sleep with him, the entire family will be informed about our divorce, and I'll make sure everyone knows why. The decision is in your hands. I hope you wake up and send your boyfriend packing. But if you go through with it, you'll destroy our marriage and ruin everything we've built together. Make your choice wisely. Just so you know, I'll be having a conversation with your boyfriend, and if he doesn't back off, he'll regret trying to seduce a married woman. I won't admit to anything, but he may not look as handsome after I'm done with him. Your husband and kids. Initially, I was stunned. This reaction wasn't what I'd anticipated. Seeing my wife faint wasn't part of the plan. I kept watching for a few more minutes until she finally moved and sat up. Then she slowly stood, with tears running down her cheeks. She picked up the letter again, rereading it, and seemed to come to her senses, then began yelling at herself. "What a foolish, stupid woman you are," she muttered. Spying my wedding ring on the table, she cried out in agony. "What have I done? I'm such an idiot. I hope it's not too late," she berated herself. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. She walked from the kitchen to the front door, picking up the largest knife from our kitchen set as she passed. The hallway camera activated, capturing her opening the door. A young man, probably around 20, staggered inside. He regained his balance, spreading his arms wide. "Hey, baby! I'm here now. Where's your little husband?" My wife stepped closer, pressing the knife to his throat. You have no idea what you've done. You've wrecked my marriage, and now my whole family might disown me. I was stupid enough to almost convince myself I had the right to sleep with you," she said. His face turned pale with horror. He had come to see his lover, but now faced a different side of her. "Thank God I only kissed you," she continued. "When my husband talks to me again, whether as my spouse or ex, I'll tell him how you tried to convince me I needed you." As he moved closer, she pressed the blade deeper, drawing a thin line of blood. "You bastard," she hissed. "I have nothing left to lose, so cutting your throat would be quite satisfying." He backed away, trembling, opened the door, and ran down the driveway. My wife shut the door, then leaned against it, crying. Suddenly, she noticed the dress she was wearing, one I hadn't bought her. She tore it off, revealing black lace lingerie I had gifted her, before running upstairs. The bedroom camera switched on as she changed into my shirt and an old pair of her jeans. Then, she started dialing my number. My phone rang. It was Carol. "Yes, Carol, how can I help you?" I answered coldly. "I know you saw him in the house, and I know you saw me nearly kill him," she said, her voice on edge. "Carol, listen carefully. Our kids don't want their mother or me in prison. You're not thinking straight, so here's what you'll do: contact all our families and apologize for your behavior this past year." "Yes, Gary, I will. I'm so sorry. I've been such a fool. You know I didn't actually sleep with him, right? If I'd suspected you did, we wouldn't be having this conversation," I replied tensely. "Now do as I've instructed. Tell everyone the truth about why we aren't together." "Yes, Gary, I'll do everything you said. And just so you know, I still love you. If you want a divorce, I won't fight it. It's the least I can do. But please don't erase me from your life." She ended the call and then proceeded to reach out to her family, my family, her colleagues, and finally our friends. My phone buzzed nonstop with about 20 messages from family members, friends, and texts from my wife's coworkers as well as several unfamiliar numbers. The general sentiment across the board was the same: how foolish my wife had been, and how she could have done something so reckless. My wife looked utterly devastated, as though each conversation was a physical blow. Eventually, she simply laid down, and I watched as she remained still, barely breathing. I sent her a message. "Don't give up. Rest for now, then pack your things and come here. We need to talk." At the same time, I sent a text to a friend from Eastern Europe, someone with a rough background but strong loyalty and connections in the darker parts of society. The message read, "Yes, make him disappear." After he read it, I made sure to delete the message and any trace of it from my phone. Only he and I knew about it. The intent of the text was unmistakable. Carol showed up 3 hours later. She looked exhausted and sad, but otherwise unharmed. As she stepped out of the car, the kids rushed over to her, embracing her. "Mom, thank you for finally choosing us. We all missed you, even Dad, though he won't admit it," Alice, our daughter, said while glancing over at me. Martin, our son, hesitated briefly, then looked at me. I nodded, and he moved to awkwardly hug his mother before stepping back. "Mom, it's good you're here. Honestly, we didn't expect you to confront your boyfriend like that," he said with a smile. Carol was at a loss for words, and she looked at me with open arms. I hesitated, seeing the pain on her face. "Dad, you won't catch an STD just by hugging her," Alice quipped with a grin. Of course, she was right. I stepped forward and hugged my wife, perhaps for the last time, and she clung to me, whispering apologies repeatedly. After a while, we let go. Martin picked up her suitcase and turned to me. "Dad, which room should I take this to?" "In the guest room," I replied. "I'm sorry, Carol, but I can't be with you right now, knowing you were with that scumbag," I said, trying to maintain my composure. "Gary, I know you don't trust me, but I never slept with him," she insisted. "I want to believe you," I replied. "But for the last year, you've been mentally absent, leaving me, the kids, and everyone else behind. Until you show me a clean bill of health, you're staying in the guest room." You can't just waltz back into our lives because you scared your boyfriend. I need more proof that you're the woman I married. Gary, I'm so sorry. Is there really no hope for us? She asked, tears streaming down her face. Right now, there's very little hope, I said softly. It's all up to you now. I turned and walked back inside, heading straight to my study where I shut the door and tried to clear my mind. One of the biggest problems was the lack of information, but by tonight, I would know everything I needed to make a decision one way or another. I woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and toast. Stretching, I checked my phone, which was filled with messages and voicemails. Most were supportive of my actions, but a couple urged me to forgive my wife. Then, I saw a string of texts from an unknown number. The messages were detailed. No sex with your wife. They only kissed. He only touched her clothes, sometimes brushing against her brow. He wanted to sleep with her but never did. He slept with other married women for fun. Your wife was the only one who refused him. That jerk won't be sleeping with anyone again. His tool is gone. This all started 6 months ago. If you still love her, stay with her. Just my advice. I'll keep an eye on her for 6 months and then I'm out. Good luck. I read the text carefully and responded. Thank you. Good job. Pocketing my phone, I walked into the kitchen where Carol and the kids were waiting for me. Carol, we need to talk. This conversation should have happened a year ago. It's easier to talk now, isn't it? I said, seeing both hope and fear on her tear-streaked face. Carol, I'm giving you a free pass, but you need to earn it. You're going to be the best daughter to your parents, the best daughter-in-law to mine, the best friend to our mutual friends, and you're going to excel at your job. Most importantly, you'll be the best mother to our children. You will take them to soccer, drive them to parties, and support them in tough times. You need to make up for everything we've been through because of your emotional affair with that jerk. Don't worry about him, he's no longer your problem. Carol looked stunned. Gary, I don't know what to say. I was incredibly foolish, following bad advice and trusting the wrong people. But if you give me a chance, I'll prove to you and everyone else that I'm not a lost cause. She hugged me tightly, then stepped back. I love you, Gary. I always have and always will. I'll show you my love every day for the rest of my life. Martin coughed. Dad, take Mom upstairs and show her who's in charge around here. My girlfriend likes it when I do that, he said with a smirk. I grabbed Carol's hand and led her upstairs, taking control of the situation. Yes, I slept with her for hours. By the end, she could barely walk or speak, but she wore the widest smile I'd seen in years. 2 weeks went by, and Carol worked tirelessly to prove herself to everyone, my family, her colleagues, our kids, and especially to me. I romantically love her every night, and almost every morning before leaving for work. We go out to restaurants and bars, where she dresses well but never acts inappropriately. She avoids any male attention, keeps her phone's tracker active, and always tells me where she's going, even if it's just family or friends. The doctor who checked her for STDs asked about her sex life. I was there when she firmly took my hand and said, "This is my husband, my lover. No one else will ever compare to him. He's my life." The doctor just smiled and shook my hand. That night, we had unprotected sex. It felt much better. Oh, and as for Carol's ex-boyfriend? He disappeared. No one's looking for him, and a few husbands who got divorced because of him don't seem to care. The police didn't pursue the case either, since one of those husbands was an officer himself. Did he suffer a slow, painful death? No, but he's disfigured and powerless, shunned wherever he goes. His life is now a living hell. Do I trust Carol? Hell no. Do I love her? Yes. Has she made up for her awful behavior over the past year? Absolutely. Life at home is never boring now. The kids are growing fast, have their own partners, but still spend time with us. In the end, justice has prevailed. Thanks for sticking with us till the end. See you in the next episode of Cheating Secrets. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Goodbye.